people start to realize our differences aren't as big as they seem.
I couldn't really understand the magnitude of what was going on.
I know a lot of people were affected.
You know, it's still that divide.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network and Wish TV, this is Our City, Our Voice.
You look a lot different at it.
Everybody was kind of spinning about what it was and what was happening.
Everything's changed.
Everything's changed. Presented by Eskenazi Health.
Well, she marched with the Reverend Jesse Jackson and was actively involved in notable legal cases like George Floyd and Jamar Clark. Well, now she wants to empower the next generation.
In honor of Black History Month, seasoned civil rights attorney and activist Nakima Levy-Armstrong recently sat down with All Indiana Lifestyle reporter Amisha Ramsey to discuss activism in a digital age and provide a glimpse into those high-profile cases. Take a listen.
What can 160 years of experience teach you about the future? A lot, especially when it comes to protecting what matters. At Pacific Life, we've helped people and businesses confidently embrace the future with life insurance, retirement income, and employee benefits. With strategies built on strength and trust, and a promise to be here for you today and tomorrow. Ask a financial professional how Pacific Life can help you today. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York. Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
It is Black History Month, and we have a very special guest, someone who I would love to introduce to you, someone who I've even talked to about high-profile cases like what happened in Minneapolis with George Floyd. She was one of the individuals who sounded the alarm before any of protests or anything started to happen. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Miss Nakima Levy-Armstrong. She is an attorney and a civil rights activist here to talk about Black history and where we are today from the digital age up until what happened in the past so we can get a little bit of understanding. Nakima, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy that it's Black History Month.
Me too. And it's an opportunity to pay homage to the history, but also see where we are today. I want to talk to you just about your insight on how you became, to tell us a little bit about you, how you became an attorney, and then you got into being a professor, but some of the things that you're doing in Minneapolis.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. I am a resident of Minneapolis now, but I was actually born in Jackson, Mississippi in 1976. So about 8 years after the assassination of Dr. King. And I was born into a family that experienced the impacts of Jim Crow segregation and poverty. My grandmother picked cotton when she was a young girl. And so that's always been a part of my legacy. But when I was 8 years old, my mom moved my siblings and me to South Central Los Angeles. That was like night and day, going from a relatively quiet, segregated community in Jackson, Mississippi to LA, right in the inner city, and at around the time of the start of the war on drugs.
Wow.
And so
was this also maybe during the Rodney King era? Was that around that time too?
Yeah. So I moved to LA in the early 1980s. And so starting out, seeing a heavy police presence in my community, seeing young men cycling in and out of the justice system, and experiencing a great deal of poverty in our community. And then, fast forward early 1990, 91, we had two significant incidences that happened. One involved my middle school classmate, Latasha Harlins, who was a young Black woman who Tupac has rapped about her.
Wow.
But she was a young Black woman who went into a local corner store and was falsely accused of stealing a bottle of orange juice and wound up being shot at point blank range in the back of the head at just 15 years old, innocent and unarmed. Mm-hmm. That was my first introduction to this notion of whether Black lives really mattered. And then, within a year or so after that, we had the beating of Rodney King by the LA Police Department and the uprising that took place. So all of those things were a part of my upbringing and really helped to shape my perspective on civil rights and our need to continue to fan the flames to get the justice that we deserve.
Nakima, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's Beyond J for Justice. Is that a book that you wrote and published? Can you tell me just a little bit about that and just going beyond the advocacy of the book?
Absolutely. So I wrote a children's book called J is for Justice, and I wrote it through the lens of being a mother on the front lines with my young child. So my youngest daughter is 6 years old. She has been out there with me since she was in the womb, absorbing what happens on the front lines. And so when she was a toddler, we'd be pushing her in her stroller and she'd be participating in protests. And so my experience as a mother caused me to be more conscious of the fact that there were many children out there, day in and day out with their parents, marching, demonstrating, protesting, saying Black Lives Matter and demanding justice. And so I thought about the fact that children needed a tool to help them process what was happening on the front lines, as well as the power and importance of using their voices. I don't think that children are ever too young to speak up when they see wrongdoing or when they see injustice. So I've used my book to go into classrooms and to read the book to children, to have them read to me. We chant together and we talk about some of the injustices that happen and the role that children can play. And I also talk to them about the children during the civil rights movement who led the Children's March, who braved fire hoses and police dogs. And some of them went to jail, kids as young as 8 years old, to stand up for our freedom. I don't want that legacy to be erased. I want children to understand that they are just as much a part of our movement for racial justice as any adult may be.
Well, thank you so much. Again, this is Nikema Levy Armstrong. I will say, in the words of John Lewis, continue to do or get into some good trouble.
From Wish TV, this is Our City, Our Voice. Presented by Eskenazi Health. Discover more at wishtv.com. And when you follow Wish TV on Facebook, check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.